If you're looking for Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker spoilers, you found them, so turn back now if you haven't seen it yet. This movie should really have just been called The Rise of Palpatine, because he's clearly the one we're all excited to see back in action. Watching old Darth Sidious lecturing his granddaughter and trying to impose his will on her made me wonder if the phrase, "Okay boomer," exists in the Star Wars universe. But let's take a closer look at that creepy Sith ritual he was taking part in, since it really wasn't covered much in the movie. We've been waiting for Palpatine to emerge from the shadows since we last heard his beautiful voice in the trailer for The Rise of Skywalker. His return was mentioned in the movie's opening crawl, but was just kinda glossed over. Hey, the movie had a lot to get through, and even with the breakneck pace and long runtime, it was cutting it close. But if you aren't up to date on the Star Wars expanded universe, you might have felt a little lost later on when he showed up with the intent of taking over Rey's body. Apparently, ever since his supposed demise during Return of the Jedi, he's been hanging out on the old Sith homeworld of Exegol, just chilling out and amassing a fleet of Star Destroyers. You know, like you do. While his armada may have been impressive, his body was looking a little bit worse for wear. In the canon novel Tarkin, it said that he was born about 65 years before the rise of the Galactic Empire that we saw during Revenge of the Sith, which means he was probably born around 84 BBY. The Rise of Skywalker takes place in 35 ABY, making Palpatine approximately 119 years old. So the fact that he's still alive at all is pretty impressive from a biological standpoint, let alone all of the life-threatening situations he's been in over the years. When Palpatine came face-to-face with his granddaughter Rey, he told her that he wanted to inhabit her body, which is really creepy, Papa Palpatine. And the method he intended to use really doesn't make it any less creepy, since he wanted to use one of those unnatural pathways he's always going on about. Back in Revenge of the Sith, Palpatine talked about Darth Plagueis and how the dark side could allow the Sith to cheat fate and extend their lives. What he was talking about is a dark side force power known as transfer essence. It's a top-tier ability that's tricky to pull off. In most cases, clones are the most preferable vessel because they offer the least amount of resistance. Many force-based powers can't be used on people who are strong-willed or have a natural immunity. Trying to inhabit an already filled vessel is nearly impossible, which is why clones are such an attractive option for would-be body snatchers. The ritual needed to complete the transfer is incredibly dangerous, and any Sith attempting it would have his or her own body destroyed as a result. So if the whole vessel thing doesn't work out, the Sith's spirit goes straight into the void without passing go or collecting $200. In non-canon lore, Palpatine is an old pro at transferring his essence into clone bodies, but taking over someone like Rey is a whole different story. Sith Emperor Vitiate was the master of this technique, and at first he relied on the power of 8,000 other Sith lords. That was before he found out that sacrificing thousands of innocent people worked just as well. In The Rise of Skywalker, Palpatine is trying the original version of this ritual recipe and using the collective power of the Sith. Palpatine's unsettling cheering section in The Rise of Skywalker is the Sith Eternal, a secretive sect of Sith loyalists. The Sith Eternal want the Siths back in power, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen. But their dedication is definitely unquestionable, and they were pinning all of their hopes and most likely their lives on Palpatine being able to transfer his consciousness into Rey. After all, the Sith Eternal can't actually use the Force themselves, so they need someone who can. Another version of Vitiate's ritual involved the subject being hooked up to a machine and giving themselves over to the dark side. It seems like Palpatine was trying to do something similar by having Rey strike him down in anger. Although this is the first time the consequences of doing so were made explicit, it's not the first time we've seen Palpatine trying to pull off this trick. He attempted to get Luke Skywalker to destroy him out of hatred all the way back in Return of the Jedi, but then Darth Vader stepped in to fulfill the Sith tradition of apprentices taking out their masters. Or at least he tried to. Any way you look at it, this ritual is dangerous for not only the vessel, but the Sith trying to find a new body. Putting this out there into the universe is almost certainly not going to result in anything good. Although Palpatine didn't manage to successfully complete his ritual, he did raise a lot of interesting questions. Since he's apparently been hanging around all this time, who knows what strings he's pulling in the Mandalorian? Is he the person giving orders to Moff Gideon, and does this have something to do with Baby Yoda? It's an interesting question, and not only because I just watched the season finale and Baby Yoda is all I can think about. Transferring your essence into another living being is almost as complicated as the YouTube algorithm. But finding your way around it and making sure you don't miss out on a single thing from CBR is as easy as clicking on the subscribe button and turning on your notifications, either from right here or on the settings menu if you're on your phone. In just a few clicks, the ritual is complete. What do you think about the fact that the transfer essence ability was included in The Rise of Skywalker? And do you think we'll have an impact on The Mandalorian? Let us know what you think in the comment section, and then click on the subscribe button for more videos from us here at CBR. Bye for now.